One of the most common topics that come up in so many of my sessions, regardless of the issue that we're dealing with, is personal boundaries. Boundaries are essential in healthy, sustainable relationships. If you have difficulty saying no, or you find yourself overcommitting or doing things that you later regret, then I think you're going to find this video helpful. A personal boundary is a limit that you have complete control over and defines what you will or will not allow. Yet most of us don't have an excellent understanding of what they are, or how to successfully put them in place, or even how to keep them when we need them the most. So, when do I need them? What are they? How do I set them, and when do I keep them when someone's pressuring me? Let's get into it. Why do we need them? The purpose of having a boundary is to protect our inner self. If our boundaries are either weak or we do not have them at all, then we're vulnerable and we can be hurt physically or emotionally. If our boundaries are too rigid, we can be closed off and disconnected. The research shows us that the most open, compassionate people have the most explicit personal boundaries. Boundaries do not create separation from others. They make a safe and protected space from which we can be our most open selves. When we have a boundary violated, we often feel resentful, guilt, anxiety, stress, and even fear. Examples of unhealthy boundaries include a man letting his ex-wife go through his mail when she's dropping off the kids, a woman avoiding confronting her husband about his excessive drinking, maybe. If someone you have a relationship with comes into your home and starts moving or removing things, having a person text you at any time and expecting an immediate response, not going to a family function because someone drinks too much and makes sexual comments that just make you uncomfortable, accepting gifts, invitations, or requests that you don't really want, not saying no just to prevent feeling that you're letting someone down, allowing manipulation and then making excuses for them. If you feel you have to walk on eggshells to prevent an episode that could involve tears or anger or shouting or criticism, anything you feel pressure into giving in, permitting anyone to be disrespectful to you, all of these are examples of lack of healthy boundaries. So what are the benefits of setting healthy boundaries? If the boundaries are the limits that we set to protect our physical and emotional well-being, and we use them to tell others how to treat us, some benefits could be saying no without feeling guilty, or asking what we want and need, taking care of ourselves, doing things you desire rather than just out of obligation, or following your values and feeling safe to express your emotions and your needs, being treated fairly, being responsible for your feelings and not the other person's feelings. Since most people would agree that those benefits sound good, then why do so many of us have such a hard time with these boundaries? The 7 top reasons I've found that people do not create healthy boundaries are: 1, they never took the time to set them. The fear of not being liked, the fear of rejection, the fear of not being lovable, the fear of confrontation is a big one. Fear of abandonment, and the fear of disappointing someone, all are so powerful to us that we try to avoid them, right? What about in the times where it's really hard, right? Like, if that's in the best of times, then we still struggle. What if we add these difficulties, trying to navigate when we're dealing with a loss in our lives, such as a death or a divorce or a breakup? It's no wonder that we struggle. The loss creates an emotional roller coaster that can be disorienting, making us less confident, secure, or safe. Setting boundaries becomes even more challenging when we lose our safety, security, and connection that used to provide that validation we needed so much. So where do we start? The best place to start is to permit yourself to feel your emotions without allowing others to manipulate or take any judgment they're trying to place on you. It should be best if you do not fall into that trap of sacrificing your needs for theirs. Rather than blaming others for your problems or letting them blame you for theirs, a healthier, more sustainable approach is to give yourself and others the space to clarify our needs and to provide a safe place to express them. When I'm working with a client to create a new, fresh set of boundaries, we typically start with 6 categories: emotional, physical, sexual, beliefs, objects, and time. My 7 best tips for setting and keeping boundaries is: 1, understand why you need the boundary. What are you trying to prevent or protect? 2, identify when this comes up for you so you can better be prepared to eliminate added pressure to creating it on the spot. 3, be straightforward. The most loving and successful way to share your need is to be direct. It needs to be very clear. Number 4, no story or justification is needed since you have complete control over your boundaries. There's no need to defend or explain your action. 5, be really calm when stating your boundaries. Your boundaries are predetermined factual rules. They're operational. If this happens, then I will do that. There should be no blame or judgment when you state a boundary. It shouldn't move the other person to become defensive. Number 6, identify violations quickly. You need to act when violations occur or there's really no boundary. And number 7, pay attention to your feelings. Follow your intuition regarding any changes or violations. While your boundaries are there to protect you, having a good boundary is necessary to maintain a healthy, sustainable relationship. And a bonus tip, your mood should not change a boundary. Since your values are the foundation, a limit should not vary based on how you're feeling or your mood. Preparing for resistance from ourselves and others. Why do personal boundaries have such a poor reputation for some of us? I think it's often we associate yes with being friendly and no with withholding something as being mean. But this thought isn't actually true. There are times when telling someone no can be in their best interest or the best interest of the relationship. But our initial response that yes is polite and no would be rude or disappointing may falsely lead us to believe that stating our boundary would be more dangerous for us or painful for them. At the moment, our need to be liked and included, make people happy, avoid disappointing them, or being seen as not wanting to help may lead us to not state our boundary or act against our desires. However, this temporary avoidance does not grow the relationship or trust. It typically provides exactly the opposite. When we say yes to something we would rather not do, we may regret it or be disappointed. These feelings may grow into resentment towards others. So often we choose not to be honest about our desires and avoid stating our boundaries to the detriment of the connection and the relationship. So what about being prepared for pushback? Because there will be. When we know our values and clearly state them to others, our self-esteem and confidence rise. 2 particular types of people may challenge you more when trying to hold your boundaries than most. The first one is a self-centered person who try to overpower your limits. The best tip here is to just be clear on what you want and why. This person is not interested in your reasons, is really just likely to just be trying to win their position. Since this person is real direct, you probably know they're coming and you'll be more prepared for them. The second type is more difficult to notice. The second type can be a person that has trouble processing their attachment challenges. They rely on others to reflect on what is happening. When a boundary is in place, this person may become very reactive because they're on the outside or disconnected from the person they need to help them regulate themselves. You may not understand why, that they're pushing back so hard, and why they may even pick a fight to distract you from the separation that you've asked for. I'll make another video going into more in depth on handling more challenging situations, but I just wanted you to be aware in case you encounter them. When we don't have boundaries or choose not to enforce them, we lose our sense of self. We set others' need ahead of ourselves to our detriment. If you have someone in your life that crosses the limits you set, You may want to find a trusted person that understands and with whom you can share your needs and concerns. You can talk through a plan on how to specifically deal with a person or situation that is healthy for you. I love the Brené Brown quote. Daring to set boundaries is like having the courage to love ourselves even when it risks disappointing others. I've included a link below with 2 worksheets, step for creating healthy boundaries, along with my 5 most helpful things to know about yourself before creating healthy boundaries. If you'd like to get those, just click the link below. Having healthy boundaries is critical to having a good relationship. Get this right and you'll enjoy the freedoms to feel more open and supported by those you love. Get this wrong and ignore this, and others are likely to take advantage of you. You deserve to take the time to do this for yourself.